Hi, and welcome to the Digital Freedom Coach podcast with me, Erik Olsson. Here, we go in depth and talk about how you can use digital tools to create more freedom in your life. Are you, as me, curious about how you can work remotely, how you can build a business online, and what it actually takes to create the life of your dreams? Then this is the podcast for you. For more info on what we do, check out thedigitalfreedomcoach.com. And there we go again. Another exciting episode with the Digital Freedom Coach podcast. Things are happening. I'm experiencing a great momentum and I'm looking forward to see all the results, right? So I'm quite excited, and we're like doing webinars and stuff at this stage, so I'm very excited. But okay, let's go into the topic of today. So are you working alone, or, my dear listener, are you working in a team, with the support of a team? So what do I want to share today? So maybe you know of it, maybe not, probably not if you live, somewhere else rather than in Sweden, right? But we have a saying, a proverb in Sweden that is ensam är stark. Okay, so that's Swedish. So what does this mean? It means alone you are strong, or you are stronger alone, right? So I think this kind of goes back into the days, I don't know, like maybe 50 years ago, 100 years ago. We had another sort of a society. We had the industrial society and the industrial revolution, whatever. We had another sort of society, right? And then this caught on, and this is a very, very common saying, proverb here in Sweden. And I grew up with this, and I thought this was true for a very long time. For many years, I was thinking, okay, so you are stronger alone. Like, if you really want to accomplish something in life, you should go at it, right? Alone. Like, if you decide on something and you want to achieve a certain result, no matter what's the area, I had to kind of work to achieve that result alone. You couldn't really count, or I couldn't really count on anyone else. If I wanted to get things done, it had to be sort of on my terms, and I had to strive for it and build it and take one step at a time and everything. But the sense of like teamwork wasn't there, right? You couldn't count on anyone. I don't know if you can relate, my dear listener. Maybe you can. But this is kind of a very strong proverb here in Sweden. It's like also, I think I mentioned it, we have another kind of saying here in Sweden. It's called jantelag. Okay, so that's kind of a thing where you shouldn't think you are better than anyone else. You shouldn't think that you could accomplish something that most people won't, or won't even aim for or try to accomplish. You shouldn't think that you are someone, right? So in maybe in the traditional Swedish society, you should like be put in your place. You shouldn't strive for anything. You should kind of be where you are. Okay, so that's kind of where I grew up. And if you think about it, obviously, what is the result? The result is you will most likely have quite a lonely life, I imagine, right? Because if you are stronger alone, okay, then you will have that lifestyle, right? You won't really think about teamwork or collaboration or partnerships or how to achieve your results in another sort of a way. And to go back to my story, this is kind of what I did for many years. I did my studies at university, global studies, political science, conflict resolution, and I kind of went wherever I wanted to go in the world. It's sort of a liberating time as well, in a sense. I was like stronger alone, and I took aim on something and I just went for it, right? So I lived in Japan for 1 year, in Taiwan for 1 year, New Zealand half year, in Belgium half year. I lived in Spain. I traveled a lot. I experienced lots of things. And I did all of these things, and I really kind of appreciated my experiences, but I kind of always found myself doing them alone, right? So something changed at the later stage. Something changed maybe only the last 3 to 4 years. Because then I started to see that there is another way. Okay, there is absolutely another way. And when I set up my own company, I have a company, it's called Two Strong Arms. It's like in health and fitness coaching, and I also help and coach people to sort of experience or discover a more adventure aspect of their lives. Okay, so I started to do that, but I also got into leveraged sales, or it's sometimes called direct sales, or even network marketing, right? So I started that experience and my career, my profession in this field, and I went about it as I always done before. I did it alone. I kind of, okay, so they do it that way, I will do it my way, and I will find what works for me. And I kind of put in lots of effort into building my business in network marketing, but I still did it sort of on my own, right? So slower, like on a like a piece by piece, like bit by bit, I started to realize, okay, there is a power, there are lots of benefits with working together with other people. And I slowly started to realize that you are in fact stronger if you can work with other people. And honestly, maybe like the key difference being that whenever I worked with other people, you know, back in the days, maybe like at the workplace or as a student, you know, you have like a project and you should write a paper or something. Often you didn't have the same goals, right? You didn't have the same vision. You weren't striving for like the same purpose. You weren't striving for the same goal. You didn't want to achieve a specific sort of joint goal, so you couldn't take that joint effort, right? You couldn't do it together. And now things had changed, because now I started to slowly and I mind you, my dear listener, like I mean slowly realize, okay, but if I work with other people in this field, like in network marketing, and they also want to achieve a specific goal, maybe it makes sense to actually work with them, right? So if you work with a team and you headed to the same direction, it will be easier. And mind you, also, my dear listener, it doesn't really matter if it's network marketing or if it's in another field. I believe the experience is the same. And the key here is that at the beginning, I believe it will be more difficult. Right? Imagine, you know, okay, you're going to, I don't know, build a house. Okay, let's see if this works as an example. My dear listener, you're going to build a house and you're going to do it, you know, you have an idea, you have a sketch and a plan and everything. And you decide, okay, I will do it alone. You imagine, like you put like a brick by brick and you build that house. You imagine the time it will take to build that house. You imagine, you know, to use all the wiring and electricity and plumbing, whatever, all the things you have to learn in order to build the house. Okay, it will take time. Okay. Now imagine you're going to put together a team to build that house. Is that more efficient? Like seriously, think about it. Imagine that the people you will work with have no experience in building that house. Okay, that's tricky, right? Because you will have to teach them how to build that house first. Oh wow, like you need to teach them on like how to do the plumbing and draw the wiring and electricity and everything. That will probably take more time. Okay, so the training of your team will take time. At the end of the day, however, they will be able to help you to build that house, and maybe to build another house, another house, and another house, and they will be able to train other people to build those houses. The point being, my dear listener, that initially it will take more time, obviously, you know. So it will take more time, but the end result, you will have more resources, more like hands on the desk that will be able to help you to build more houses or to achieve like whatever goal you want to achieve. And I think this is kind of the thing, isn't it? Like, Because if you want to achieve something, you want to be financially free, you want to build a business, you want to open a restaurant, whatever, you kind of want to do it alone, because then you see, okay, you can take action. Like, the only accountability you have is towards yourself, right? That's it, not to anyone else. And then you can take action, you can go at it. But if you're going to build a team and they will do it, that will take forever, right? But you see, like, okay, but what's the vision? What do you want to achieve? That's the thing, my dear listener, okay? So are you willing to invest the time that is necessary in order to train a team, to find a team, in order to reach that result? Like, what is the long-term perspective? What is the long-term plan? What is the long-term view? What is the long-term goal? What do you want to achieve long-term? Like, you get what I'm saying? I think that's highly, highly important. Highly important. So now the thing, okay, let's step back a bit, right, my dear listener. Okay, so you want to achieve something, okay? So this is the Digital Freedom Coach podcast. Most listeners to this podcast, they want to achieve some sort of freedom, right? It can be like financial freedom. They want to be a digital nomad. They want to have more freedom to some extent, compared to what they had before. So, of course, imagine, like, from a business perspective, you open a restaurant. Okay, you open a restaurant. Dear John, listening to this podcast, you're opening a restaurant. If you didn't know it, now you know it. So you open a restaurant. Okay, you have one restaurant. Okay, that's all fine and dandy, as they say. And you have this restaurant, and you have your customers, and you have a revenue, and you have a cash flow and everything. But what if you also, after a while, set up a franchise concept of that restaurant? Because you have a unique concept. You have something your competitors don't. So you find people that are interested in the concept you provide, and you set up a franchise. Okay, so you train those new people that are approaching you, or you approach them in the concept you have and what you can provide, and you train them in all of this and in opening a restaurant, and all of a sudden you have 10 restaurants. Can you see how that is leveraged? Your restaurant business is leveraged. What you're actually doing is you're setting up a team. Okay, so you have a team of 10 restaurant owners and yourself. The team consists of 11 people. Okay, do you see how that is more impactful than doing it all by yourself? If you open a restaurant, and then you open another restaurant, and then you split your time between two restaurants, and you are supposed to manage two, and then you want to increase your cash flow, so you open a third restaurant, but you want to be the manager of all of them, so you split your time between 3 restaurants. How close will you get to burnout? Right? How close will you get to hitting that wall, burnout, and disappear from the face of the earth? Right? I don't think that's possible, my fellow listener here. What are your thoughts about this? Please share. I would love to hear. So I see that the power is in having like a leveraged system somehow, to have sort of a franchise concept somehow, to have a team mindset, to work together. Just imagine, like the big franchise chains you have these days. You have like McDonald's, you have Subway, you have you'll have lots of different restaurants, right? For instance, that's like the easiest example. But hey, think about it. If you also have other, there are other brands, larger brands. Think about Dean Graziosi, or think about Tony Robbins. Okay, so Tony Robbins, I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you will have heard of Tony Robbins. So it's this motivational, inspirational speaker and coach, and he helps people to kind of fulfill their true potential. So Tony Robbins is working in a team. Obviously he's working in a team. He's not doing everything by himself. That would be impossible. So imagine all the online social media marketing, all the content on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, and the email newsletters and all the courses and everything else that is going on, right? And all the masterminds, events and everything. Obviously, Tony Robbins is working with lots of professionals that is helping him out to build all of these things. Or think about Gary Vaynerchuk, right? He's not doing everything by himself. He has a team supporting him, right? And I believe this is also true for smaller entrepreneurs. Honestly, I'm still at the beginning of my own journey, but I'm not doing everything myself. So I have another podcast, Live Your Dream Life podcast in Swedish, where I work with another coach. You can check him out. He's called the Gentleman's Coach. And we do this together, so we're working as a team. It's important, my dear listener, it's important. So, most people miss this part. They think they will have to do everything on their own. And they miss the part that initially you have to invest time and effort and resources in order to build something. In order to build that team that will help you to achieve your goals. And my experience, and the reason I'm also talking about this, at this specific podcast, is that I have invested a lot of time in order to build a team in leveraged sales, as an example, right? So I've been in the industry for about four years, and the first year I just kind of realized afterwards, I was trying to figure it out, and I didn't really know what I was doing, and I saw the potential in it all, but I was kind of, in a sense, lost, and I wasn't sure on how to do it. And then year 2 and 3, I put in lots of effort into finding people that were open-minded, that were visionaries, that had dreams and hopes and had a larger purpose in life. And I had to invest my time in order to find these people, right? So I had to find them. That's like the tricky part, If you're opening a new business, you're opening that new restaurant, of course you have to invest time in order to find your business partner. It will take time, and because it will have to be a suitable candidate, right? That is so important. You will have to find a proper person, like the right person for that business. You can't just work with anyone. So you have to qualify people. You have to meet people. You have to sort of interview people to see what they are dreaming about. And I believe this is true in all different sort of businesses. So I spent my time doing this, and that was like lots of my time went into just finding the proper people, like the right person. And then after a while, when I started to train them. Okay, so the last year, specifically the last year plus a few months, I've been spending my time in order to train them. We saw the potential, we know where we are heading, and now time is spent in order to train them. And we do that together. And kind of in network marketing, but also, like in a traditional sort of franchise business, the key here is, okay, imagine you're a health coach, right? Okay, so you have access to or you can approach maybe 100 people, and you have 100 customers. Okay, that's awesome. But what if you want to have 10,000 customers? How are you supposed to do that? So if you can find other people that have a passion the same as you do, and you train them to also find 100 customers, and you work together, you see how that customer base through this leverage system is enhanced, how it's strengthened. And that is how you can reach those 1,000 customers, 10,000 customers, whatever, right? You have lots of restaurants, you have lots of business partners. Together you achieve more. Together you achieve more. Alone you do not achieve more. Alone you are alone. So maybe hard words, I don't know. So you have a stronger outreach. So what I want you to do, my fellow listener here, my dear listener, is to actually think about these things. I mean, honestly, sit down, paper and pen, and think about, what are you doing alone today? Like, what are you, my dear listener, John, Stephanie, what are you doing today alone? In which areas could you benefit from growth and from working with a team? In which areas could you benefit from growth and working with a team, in a team? And it can be in any area. I mean, let's look at health. Okay, so you want to be healthy, you want to feel fit, you want to have a good diet. Okay, option one, you do it alone, you read all those books, you go out and do sports, and you go for a run, and all of these things, right? Okay, that's fine. But if you really want a leveraged system here, if you want to work in a team, it might be, valuable to work with maybe a health coach, a personal trainer, some other, so maybe a mindset coach. Maybe you want a dietitian somehow that can help you with the diet and food and everything. Maybe you want a gym membership and you go there and you meet other like-minded people. You see how that is kind of a team effort. Maybe you want to build a business, okay? A business coach. Maybe you need a mentor. Maybe you need to set up a team that can help you to work with Facebook and Instagram ads. You see what I'm aiming at? A team doesn't have to be, only like friends or whatever. That would be very awkward. I mean, a team can be like, which people have you contacted or they have contacted you, and you can work to achieve the same goal. Okay, so it can be that you're hiring someone. It can be that you have a sort of a partnership, a sort of collaboration, or you have a business partner. Okay, that's a team. You do it together. And it can also be in other areas, relationships, family, business, health, sports, travel, whatever. So I will round this off, today's episode, about like working alone or in a team, with a team, to say, honestly, my dear listener, I changed. I was this kind of guy who I wanted to do everything on my own, and I did, until kind of recently, the last year, which changed my own mindset. So today I'm working in a team. I have business partners in Germany, around in Sweden, in France, in the United States, even Albania. And I have customers in all of these countries and more, and also in Italy and so on. And I would never have achieved that if I would have done it alone, just me. And now, when I work with a team and I invest my time into working with a team, and I coach and I mentor them, and they are honestly also coaching and mentoring me, I love it. Like, with all sincerity and authenticity, I love it. It's the most powerful feeling you can experience. I mean, to work together to achieve a certain goal, that is very empowering. Because then you start to feel and see that you can achieve anything. And it's a team effort. So that's what I wanted to share today. So have a powerful day. Do that exercise of, paper and pen. Check out what you're doing alone and where can you benefit from working together with others. So have fun. Have a good day. Do the exercise. Be powerful. Be bold. Be courageous. Aim high. Go for it. Be passionate. And you will achieve whatever you want to achieve. If that's freedom, you will achieve freedom. Have a powerful day. Bye-bye.